Hi, Divine Rebels, Bohemia with Bohemian Stars and Ocean Heart here, and I am doing a reading today, another one from the ancestors. And as you see from the title, this one is specifically for our ancestors that were two-spirit or on the gender non-conforming to today's current standards or in their time, the whole LGBTQIAP PN spectrum. And yes, I was feeling this energy like immediately after I finished the other one. I was like just feeling like, hey, please do one for us too, like let's do it. And I was like, oh, that feels, yeah, like it feels good for me where I'm at, like the channeling, it was a pure connection. And then I was like, oh yeah, and it's Pride Month, so perfect. Yeah, so make sure during Pride that you please, first of all, support everyone from this community 365, 366 on leap years, okay? All the time. Please make sure that you don't just buy like all the flashy stuff that companies that don't give a shit are gonna slap rainbows on and sell you during this time, but actually go and purchase from this community, from the artists and business owners and everything that are made here in the queer community. All right, from readers, yes, and also please pay particular attention to the POC, BIPOC, so Black and Indigenous people of color who are very marginalized in our own community. I don't put my personal life out there, not because I'm in the closet, but just because I'm just real private. But I am the P in the LGBTQIAP, which is pansexual. So really connecting with that. Remember that Pride started from a Black trans woman throwing the brick at the police. So if you are not protecting trans people, you're not celebrating Pride. If you're not protecting the Black people in the community, you're not celebrating Pride. So this is very important to remember, right? If you're not willing to go wild when it needs to be. And on a real note, like growing up in Hollywood, the real Hollywood, all of our people there's a house that's getting more attention there now, but all of the queer youth would really go there, and there just wasn't even enough resources. And especially Black transgender youth gets so targeted by even the cops. And I know even in like Canada, they had a whole thing where they were like protesting at Pride about it. So I'm like, look, if Canada protests, you already know. This was a few years back, but it's so important that we make sure that our youth are taken care of in this community, that we're not letting them be preyed upon, and not as protected as other members, more visible members. Pride has become about certain sectors of Pridedom, and not for everybody all the time that is in this community. All right, so please make sure that you're sharing that information when you're posting about Pride, that you are buying from these communities and supporting and protecting these communities all the time. And yes, that's where my heart is at for this reading. Now, I have really just set the intention from now on that all the ancestors that come through are really good, positive ancestors who were in no way abusive or hurtful or bigoted or racist in any way. Yes, now in this we might have some ancestors that talk about what it was like for them to live and express themselves, so we'll see. But in general, no bigotry or anything like that. And that might seem strange, but not all ancestors are healed. And I have actually done extensive work for people where I'm like, they're like, yep, you're right, my dad was racist as hell. I was like, okay, because what I'm picking up right now, so yes, it's true. It's good to put your boundaries up when you're connecting, even with our ancestors, right? Because some people aren't healed yet, or it's not the right vibration. So just for everyone out there who is learning or connecting, or just as a remembrance, okay? So if you're looking for someone who fit in that category, they won't be here in this reading. They're not gonna connect. We have very good, healthy boundaries here. We could have a spectrum of emotions. We'll have a spectrum of individuals here. Please remember this is safe space. Anything disrespectful will be removed. Even like I'm very thorough with how I protect the communities that I protect. So there will be like no kind of acceptable bigotry that will slide in the comments as well. On my last one, I had to remove some people for that as well. So we will keep this loving, safe space. Now this reading goes both ways. If you're in the queer community and you're trying to connect and see, do I have any ancestors who, you know, experience similarities, or, you know, that just are in this community, I want to connect. This can also be, you know, people who are straight, who are coming and wanting to connect and honor those ancestors and say, hey, I want you to know that I love you and I want to reach out and just acknowledge you. So this reading is for everybody who is coming with a good heart and wants to connect with their ancestors who are over the rainbow. I do have a page actually on Facebook, and it's called Over the Rainbow, #OverTheRainbow, and it is for all the love is love spectrum, gender, and, you know, sexually identified spectrum there. So I haven't posted on it in a while. I've been off Facebook, but I do have that, and it's just a nonprofit, because when I just for the community, when I came back to Iowa from California, there were like no resources online at all for like the queer community, and like PFLAG was closed because it was summer, and like every number that I called was disconnected, and there was some stuff going on in the community, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if nobody has a place to reach out and they're going through a difficult time and they need to reach the community? So I made that page, and it's just a little page, but you know, I like to post all different kind of things and concerns from the you know, around the world for the community. So yes, now you see these gorgeous stones. Let's get into our options. We have 4 options here. All of the decks will be listed down below, and here we have Kyanite. It's blue. Let me see if I can catch the color on screen, because it's really gorgeous. I'm filming this at night and we have the light of the little computer screen over there. But that is blue. See how it has the iridescent? I don't know if it's picking up. Hopefully it is. It has a whole bunch of little iridescent bits and bops in it. All right, Kyanite, blue Kyanite for number 1. Number 2, we have Magenta Agate. This one has been a favorite for a lot of you. Number 3, we have Aragonite with the sparkle. Yes, sparkle. And number 4, we have Unakite here with the soft greens and pinks. All right, so 1 is blue Kyanite, 2 is Magenta Agate, 3 is the sparkly Aragonite, and 4 is the pink and green Unakite. All right, so you might watch through a few. You might pick for different sides of the family, however you want to do this. This is for those within your lineage, or they don't have to be like your direct bloodline, but it could be like uncles and aunts, you know, that kind of sprout off of your bloodline. But this is your family lineage. Okay, yes, so here we go. Yay. I'll see you on your timestamp if you're jumping the timestamp, and those should be down below as well, in the comments and in the description box. All right, I'll make sure I don't knock these over, because we got some big juicy piles here. All right, I'm once again filming this at the witching hour. Actually, it's past, it's already 4:20. Yes, here we go, the blue Kyanite for group number 1. Let's see, what does your ancestor have to say? We have strength, but this is an oracle strength for those who are not visually seeing this from the unicorn deck. We have the 9 of Pentacles reversed, and it says self-sufficiency in Venus and Virgo. We have the King of Cups, which says the throne of movement. And we have the Chariot, water, Cancer energy, and the moon, it says. Okay. Now we have some archetype cards to see more energy here. This group, I got a strong, for those of you who are indigenous, I got a strong 2-spirit energy that is not the same as just being LGBTQIA. It's very specific position, and it's not always called the same thing with all tribes, but so for those that it resonates, I did get that feeling. For the archetype cards, we have the Exorcist reverse, which says fear of facing your own demons. We have Midas, miser on the light attribute sides, entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches. I like that green on there. And then we got this card, which I leave blank, which just means beyond the ordinary. So I definitely get the energy non-binary, definitely with that. We have mint, decisive action, so that green. We have imperial, sovereignty. We have coral, mercy and forgiveness. The Ace of Wands reverse. The Three of Cups. And our quote, we have, this one is Sammy Davis Jr. It says, I never open a door. I never let anyone open a door for me unless I am sure, confident that that door will stay open for whoever follows me. So that is like, ooh, that's so precious. This ancestor is like, I was gonna make sure that whatever progress that I made for our community, that you would have that as well. So I do get that feeling that this person really wanted to make sure, like they're literally a community builder, someone who really took care of those around them and wanted to make sure to leave the legacy of, you know, freedom and space for others to be acknowledged and recognized. They were a very selfless person. We have the Nine of Pentacles reverse. They also didn't always have money. We have the self-sufficiency reverse. Now I think that's because I am seeing signs that this person could have had some form of health where others took care of them, or where they got things that like here she has a wheelchair, that yeah, they could have just utilized some tools that aided them in some ways. Here this person has guide animals. So they definitely, I think, were at the intersections of a lot of different communities that weren't always spoken for, or having, you know, kind of the easy street opened up to them. And yet in some ways, I do see here them making those bridges. I do get the strong feeling of some of you having an ancestor that was blind. And that will resonate and make sense for who it resonates with. Some of you have already connected your ancestors, or you know who that is, but I am seeing some strong indicators of that. Some of them did not use their legs in a way to walk. Yes. Okay. Now I'm seeing a lot of cards of Cancer, actually. So this person could definitely have had Cancer in their chart, and they could have had a Venus in Virgo. Let's see, which actually, yes, that works. That works. I am seeing this person not so much connecting with what we would determine as it's like hard to use like all of these terms, but what I see them as identifying more with what currently would be considered the feminine spectrum of energy. Again, using current language to try to explain, you know, because we don't have everything that we need, but I see them not identifying with words such as, I don't think they would take personal pronouns like he and his. I don't think that they would identify with being considered masculine, that energy. I see them saying no to that and saying yes to energy. Now owning who they are, this is the King of Cups, but showing energy that would be considered currently to be feminine, or she, her, or they, them, is what I'm seeing. I also see that this person was really made an effort to make sure that all ages were accepted, and to, like, that was a big thing for them. Now this is everything legal and respectful. I see all adults here, but I'm seeing that like connecting with all different ages, that could have been something that they explored, but I'm also seeing it just in a way of wisdom. They had a lot of equality with others, and I feel like even those who were a little bit older than them saw out their special wisdom and insight that they had to things, and that they also, you know, were humble to talk to those who were younger generations and older. Again, this quote is talking about you know, really considering the doors that they open and close within the community and paying attention to the ones that are being opened for them. And so I really see that energy there. Now today's standards, they wouldn't be seen as having been super independent, but I think in their time and the way that they built it, it was very much more about cooperation, kind of like co-ops like that, versus codependency. It was about community in that way. Now I am seeing them have, like, I see them being very genuine and ingenious when it comes to like being really good at coming up with ideas to like fundraise. You know, those kind of people where wealth passes through their hands so much, but they don't take it for themselves. Like they're always like, money is just around them all the time, but they choose to build up others. So they wouldn't consider themselves poor. This ancestor didn't consider themselves poor. I think others would. I think others might have considered them in comparison. Like, for instance, like I think that they were often around people who had money and things like that, or like they got attention of the public sometimes, but they were really more low-key, homebody about their community and just wanted to be known with those that they were helping in their area. And so they didn't really see themselves as poor or anything. Like to them, they're like, no, like look at how abundant we are, look at this money for us, look at what we raised together. So I see them really contributing with their arts, with their ideas, turn anything into gold. And I also feel like just they could make anything beautiful. They could turn anything into a wonderful experience. Like that energy that people, you know, they follow the artists, they follow people with culture, the developers do nowadays, right? That's what they do. They go and they gentrify an area and try to take that art and that culture. And that's what I see. I see even if they found a rundown building or something in the community, all of a sudden there's, you know, stained glass they're putting in that they salvage from one area, and murals and paint and just plants and beauty, and you know, nature comes and connects with them. So it's really, really beautiful. Now it's very interesting because I have this elephant serpentine stone, and I almost put it out, and this card has elephants. So for some of you that could be religiously connected. It could connect to your country. Maybe you guys are from a place that you guys have elephants in your country. It can also be I got this in Peru, so for some of you, you might be Peruvian. But yes, so for a few, not for everyone, that will be significant, but it does show wisdom. It does show them, you know, really being wise and actively using the messages that they received from their elders, but also they have a lot of walking wisdom. They were street smart, you know, they learned from, again, being out in the community, real life experience. Very nurturing. You know, I feel like they were so slow to anger, very slow to anger. Like they were very active in a lot of ways, but they were slow to anger. And I think that was the thing that was really amazing about them. Like, how do you get so much done and you're feisty, you know, but you're slow to anger? How are you out and about and doing so much, and yet other people would consider that with the way that your body is, that you wouldn't be able to get this much done, and yet here they are, outdoing all of these things. So they definitely had that where people might not expect it of them. I do see other people's reaction. It says fear of facing your own demons. I think something about the way that this ancestor lived their life really you know, and not just them being within the queer community, but I think that it really made people nervous. Like, you know, when like it makes people nervous when others can be really giving and be happy, like, because then they're like, do I have to give my stuff away to be happy? Is this what's required of me? So I think there was a lot of things about the way this ancestor lived their life, and just kind of wore what they wanted to and lived how they wanted to, and utilized themselves as, you know, how they wanted to. That was very, I don't know, it kind of struck a chord in people and made people nervous. We have strength. This challenge will make you stronger. You will get through to the other side. Look for the gifts in this situation. Now, some of them might have had Scorpio moon, or because a lot of Scorpio moons have what they say, the violet eyes, and I do see some purple eyes on here. They could have had a Pisces Scorpio combination in their chart as well, with some of this Cancer and water energy. Yes. So, and again, we do have a touch of Virgo here. So what, I think at first, you know, it wasn't easy. Some of them might have gotten into an accident, and that's what limited their mobility at some point. I do see them having to come to terms with owning all the different parts of who they were again. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are dark skin tones, or you know, for their race, maybe they were dark skin tones. I'm seeing a variety, but I'm seeing people that have, you know, ethnic looks to them. So they might have been at a lot of intersections of communities that just didn't have, you know, all that respect and stuff in their time. Whatever it would be. And on the lighter side, maybe they were born into you know, I'm even hearing albino actually. So for some of them it was the opposite. They were very either like supremely light or even albino, in addition to being queer, in addition to having you know, some kind of difference of mobility with their body, or, you know, something of that nature. And so it's like they're like, you know, trifold, having all these different community intersections that they're in. Oh, three in the community. And so they were just, you know, I think at first they had their times as they, you know, realized how society reacted to them, that they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to live my life to the fullest, because that's going to take a lot of work. That's going to be very hard, you know. And they're a very sensitive, emotional person, extremely sensitive and emotional. But then, you know, they're like, no, they decided to, even though it's that cliche we hate to hear, they decided to be like, you know what? You know, it's making me stronger, and I'm going to go through, I'm going to choose to see the beauty, the gifts, and how I can change things into being a gift, how I can change things. They made it active for themselves. They internalized the action and the change they wanted to see, and then they went out and did it. I feel like this person, what is it, multiple sclerosis, I just heard that, so for some of you that will be significant, but like they were like, you know what, if I tell people they need to get out of bed and live life and see the beauty, you know, and seek their enlightenment, or just come out and have a good cup of coffee, get out into the community, I need to do that. So up they get. I feel they were just, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like, oh, they didn't pity themselves. They didn't use any of their differences in that way, like pity me and then, you know, use me for some kind of martyrdom inspiration. No, they were an active, real person. They made themselves real to people. They lived their life passionately and were open and connected with others. And that's how they led by example. And that is so beautiful. Now we had to have some colorful cards here. So we had Imperial Sovereignty, and that's the energy. It's kind of like they were the imperial, the crowned person, the mayor or something of their block, of their area. They in their community, they just really gained so much respect, and were able to teach kind of the youngsters around and everything like that. Decisive action. Again, they were able to lead in good ways and to make good moves that forwarded the community and created safety and good interpersonal relationships within the community. And we have Coral, mercy and forgiveness. Mercy and forgiveness. I think that was huge, and I feel that towards themselves. I think they were able to forgive themselves the times when they had been angry, the times they had been ashamed and not lived out loud. You know, they might have missed some months or years not accepting everything about themselves, or not, you know, fully going out and doing things. And I think that they had some sadness about that, you know, what they could have been doing for themselves, what they could have been doing for others, but they had that forgiveness and mercy. And I think that they also, you know, carried that for others. They understood that, I think they didn't take it personal, not that it was okay, but they understood that it could be jarring for others to accept themselves, let alone accept them. And I feel them just bringing together people that didn't know it was okay to live and be themselves, people that didn't know how to accept each other, you know, again, like from that feeling of they didn't even know they could accept themselves, and kind of bringing everyone in to this collective area. And I don't know, I just see like this kind of neighborhood developing out of what starts as a small place, and then it's almost like, is this going to be a commune or something? And then it grows a little, and before you know it, it's just this whole little area that's there, and that's getting, you know, respect. So everyone will have ancestors from different time frames. I'm sure you will feel what connects with you, but this ancestor is really badass. Just a full life, I feel like they lived, and they were just like such a real person, so present in their life, very self-sacrificing, but also very fulfilled and respected. You know, that just decisive action, being able to just really make the right decisions. I think they did a great job, and powering through and making sweetness and joy and good connections just all the time. Like this says, what did it say? Turn anything to gold. That was them. And so I feel like those are, you know, what they do. They just kind of come, put their hand on your shoulder, hand on your leg. You might feel that sometimes. And they have a gentle energy. They just kind of wait until you're ready for that hug, until you're ready to sit and, you know, have a drink, maybe until you're in that position where you're receptive and you're asking for advice and help and love, and then they are present. They will also definitely be extremely present whenever you are connecting with community work in any capacity, and times when you need to touch into self-forgiveness or forgiveness when there's been an interaction with a loved one that hasn't gone so well, and times when you need support and deep fortitude for any, you know, physical pains or ailments or changes that you're going through. This would be a very present ancestor to connect with. They're just so nurturing. They got that mom friend vibe, right? That nurturing energy here with them. Yes, so that is what I'm picking up from this ancestor. I hope that it connected with you and that it resonated, and that you can continue to honor this ancestor and strengthen that connection. I am so excited to do these readings, and I appreciate this wonderful group of ancestors with this energy coming through. And so yes, let me know how that went for you, and comment down below, and I will talk to you soon on another one. Bye. Okay, for those of you that chose number 2, which was Magenta Agate, number 2, let's see which ancestor you get to meet. We have patience. Pause before you take action. Trust the divine timing is at work. Be patient and play whilst you wait. We have the 2 of Cups, connection, Venus and Cancer. Oh, it's so sweet. I'm so excited. The 9 of Wands, Moon in Sagittarius, resilience. And we have Revolution reversed, Water, Scorpio, and Mars. All right, we have some more back here too. They're just very large cards, so I have to make room. We have the archetype cards, we have this archetype says bully. It says highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. We have addict reverse, compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. And let's see, we have the Hanged Man. We have the Magician. And we have a quote from Eartha Kitt. It says, I trust the dirt. I don't trust diamonds and gold. I know how to survive in the dirt. And then we have some color cards that we'll get into in a moment. All right. So this ancestor really lived in the fast lane. I'm seeing addictions. I'm seeing drug dealers. I'm seeing reckless energy. I'm seeing they might have even risked or tried to harm themselves. I'm seeing it's like no revolutions were happening in their time. Like they lived the fast lane and they would like to think that it was a revolution, but it really wasn't. There was, real bullying going out there. We have the Nine of Wands, which is, PTSD and trauma. They had to have resilience through all of that and find love where they could. We have that just, very rock and roll, like it says, coming from the dirt, feeling like I come from the gutter. This is life, it might be grimy, but it's our life, and this is our scene, but it's mixed in with a lot of pain and turmoil and escapism. And here we have patience, like that's what they needed, was patience to stop and try to not rush into things. And they had that. They definitely have a playful energy that was very fun, but it could go very reckless. We have Sagittarius and Gemini energy here. Sagittarius moon's very rock star moon kind of energy. It's also energy that can go into places like that, the fast lane, trying things, experimenting with drugs and then getting into negative addictions and all of this kind of stuff, thinking that you're doing a revolution, but then you're like, whoa, I'm destroying what I should be protecting. Now, in the midst of all this, they did experience love. We have here the Two of Cups connection. This energy here, we have a few different energies. One of them I'm definitely seeing masculine identified gay love here. I'm also seeing just very very fluid, very gender fluid kind of energy, that just was. Yes, those are the ones I'm picking up here. But yeah, there was this, it's like in some ways they had it all, like where all different opinions of their lifestyle, where there was some that was like, oh, that's a cool scene, all of these rock and roll kind of lifestyles going on, but then there was that being downtrodden and being very counterculture or subculture, and it being a risk to be out and about. And I'm just feeling that very here, this is a at night, why are they out at this construction site? We have a business person who went and tried to go into an area they shouldn't have been, so there's that mistreatment. I'm getting people that even could have been sex workers, like just out there on pounding the pavement, or in those areas. Again, this could be from any time frame throughout the lineage, but they were in the entertainment scene, in the life of connecting with drugs that helped them reach escapism, because they were dealing with not having a place in society and not quite knowing how to rebel in a way that was productive, and not knowing how to sustain. I'm getting that they didn't know how to sustain long life. So it's like, just live fast, live hard, love who you can love. If you can't find someone to genuinely love, have a hookup, or at least find something to dull the pain for tonight. We're gonna dance and party, have some fun, and then try all again tomorrow, kind of energy, that energy where people are, you know, passing away, or you think someone passed away and then, oh wait, you're still alive, I thought you know, OD'd, or I thought that you were gone. And so just like this very chaotic kind of energy all over the place. And I feel like within that there was moments of clarity, moments of finding love, moments of you know, finding peace and happiness that they had. And so you might really feel some similarities in your journey with them, because usually the ancestors that come through are the ones that can advise us. Now, some of you are the opposite, and the reason why might be the guidance from this ancestor always telling you, patience, no, don't do that. Don't. You're like, some of you are like, man, I've never had a drink or done any drugs or anything. And it could be the influence of this ancestor that was like, don't do it. Don't do the path I did. Like, they're really with you. Just be patient. You know, live your life. There's time to try everything. You don't have to rush. You don't have to live crazy. Yes. So this person just did not have a lot of options. And you know, I feel like it's like you can't in a lot of ways fault them, because I feel like any of their kind of, it's like their crimes were against themselves. You know what I mean? Like they just did what they knew how with where they were and how things were in that time. Now let's see. Yeah, that's what I was feeling. We have gold abundance. So I feel like that stay golden pony boy, right? I feel like they had a good heart. We see here the Two of Cups. In the middle of all that chaos, they I mean, they weren't trying to hurt people or be destructive to anyone that was good. I think they wanted to kind of destroy society and sometimes wanted to hurt themselves. But we have gentle love, and with this golden energy, they look, it's right there, and that Two of Cups, oh my goodness. And then the blue, clarity and trust right there. How, wow. No, so I definitely felt like they found love and had a time of being very happy and together. For some of them, they lost this partner to either illness or I feel like a suicide. But I do see them having very, very amazing love that they were able to experience here. Charity and trust is what it says. I think I said clarity. Yeah. So I feel like, you know, kind of like a different time and place, they could have just had all that good love energy because they were an amazing, beautiful person. And yeah, that's why they want to guide you. They want to guide you to having loving, fulfilled relationships. They want to guide you to not choose paths of destruction as ways to cope with things, or as ways to deal with the hurt of loved ones that passed away, or as a response to, you know, others beating you down or others in the community. They don't want their mistakes to be handed down because they had so much love, and they felt it so deeply and so purely. Whenever the chance came to love, they were so ready, and they got to experience the love of their life. And for some of you, they really are letting you know, have patience. They definitely have a matchmaker energy. Absolutely. They could have Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces energy in their charts. We had Sagittarius and Moon that was big, and they could have some Aries or Scorpio. So a little bit of water and fire energy in this group. Definitely. Okay, we do have the Magician, so there could be some Gemini or Virgo. There are a lot of people who watch this, but mostly I'm getting that water fire dynamic. Maybe their Mercury was very well aspected in their chart, for those of you who like to connect with the astrological side of things. And it's so interesting too, because it says that they were golden abundance, but in here it says, I don't trust diamonds and gold. I know how to survive in the dirt. And what that reminds me of is, I feel like, see how all the gold's going? I think when they were young, well, I don't think they lived very late in life beyond their 30s. for some of you, like probably 40, 42 at the oldest. But we see all of this money and stuff falling out, and I get that feeling of trusting somebody who was preying on people in the community, and at first thinking that this person was taking care of them, and not this loving relationship, but one of the other experiences that they had, thinking that they were being taken care of, and like, wow, this person, maybe they're buying them things and giving them money, and then it turned out to be a very negative, bad situation. And that could have been for some of them the trigger into the drug, going back into or going into the drugs and stuff like that. Yeah so it's like they didn't trust. It's like they could have made money. Some of them, they could have been very successful musicians, but I feel like they just really didn't get the bubble of what they knew. They didn't trust it. They weren't going to sell out that kind of energy after they had been hurt and scammed and used. They were just like, screw that life. Screw that. Not going to go into that energy, just not going to do it. But they definitely were really multi-talented. They could really put on a show. I see very much performers. Some of them could have even been like kind of street artists, or just always have something up their sleeve when they needed to make ends meet and make money, that kind of thing. They definitely could pull it together. They just often, it wasn't used in the best ways, and so I think at the end of the day, they're like, oh, screw this whole money thing, just gets me into trouble, my life's a mess, let me just focus on relationships for as long as they could, which was good because they had charity and trust. I do feel like they were very trusting, sometimes too trusting with others, and they were very generous. And I would expect someone that has Sagittarius, quite often they're very generous with others, and this very gentle person. So they might make tons of money that night and then give it away to all their friends or go party or something, and then need to scramble and make a bunch of money again. So it just wasn't really a thing to kind of accumulate it, or to have any way to kind of get out of that situation in a permanent way, Yes, so these are all areas that they are going to counsel you on, that they're going to want you to have a better situation. That's why they're going to tell you patience. There's love out there. You can use your skills in a real good way. You need to practice more. Don't rush through the fast lane and just go into all this partying and all of that, for those of you who do it. Not to say that you can't do any, but you know what I mean. There's a difference than, partying and having addiction issues, and, kind of saying you're going out to have fun, but you're really like low-key trying to destroy your life. So they will really try to guide you in those times. And they have gentle energy. They do have a pretty gentle energy about it for the most part. I think every once in a while there's some, like I said, Mercury and Sagittarian energy here, so sometimes they will come through and lay it down on you, but mostly they're pretty gentle, and they try to guide you to make your own decisions. And I think because they understand freedom and needing to be free, and they also understand trying to rebel against things that are horrible in the world, but not knowing how to do that, and how that can feel so disempowering, and having to like hide who you are and just not have a way to fight against these bullies who are destroying everything. They understand that energy, and so they're going to want to help you do that in a constructive way that's life affirming, that's relationship affirming, that is supporting your gifts, and not kind of tearing everything down. And it's like trying to put out a fire but starting more fires, so they're going to really help you stay in a really good heart space, stay calm, stay cool and collected, and heal from things in a way that doesn't hurt you more. Will really heal from them instead of just coping mechanisms. And to know that you definitely deserve a wonderful, loving relationship, however you identify, and that should never be taken from you. I also think that they will really want you to you know, just be there for anyone else that you see that has lost a loved one, that kind of thing. Just keep, you know, it's like they held people close. I feel like they hugged people a lot, told them they loved them a lot, that kind of energy. They were really close with their friends. Even though, you know, it's like, yeah, we're messed up sometimes, we make mistakes, we do things that are just like, we're idiots sometimes. Sometimes pain and grief can, you know, just get us in the worst ways, but we never forget that good heart that that person has, and we help each other. We don't stop loving on each other because we're hurting and we, you know, did something dumb. I think that they really have that energy where they didn't judge their friends, and that's something that they would really want to continue, because they never wanted to be that bully, you know. So really being that resilience, really being gentle with yourself, with any area that you have any PTSD with, any area, you know, finding your own unique way, again, that's affirmative and healthy to heal and translate. Like when they would connect with music, that was a much better avenue for them than when they would connect through substances and things of that nature. So they're really going to affirm good habits, healthy ways to connect with others, but also still be by you. Like, I feel like there's nothing that you could really do that this ancestor, you know, if you're still in the place of love and you just really screw up because you were hurt or feeling down or sad, this ancestor would still be by you. They'd say, you know, they get down on the ground and the dirty water next to where you're, you know, throwing up from your hangover, and give you a hug and take care of you. And they would understand. They probably have many stories that were worse than yours about how bad they screwed up sometimes. Like, they're that kind of friend. They're that kind, and that's the energy, is like friend. That kind of ancestor where they've seen all the nitty gritty and you can't really scare them away. And they understand all the spectrum of emotions, and from the frustrated and the enraged to the scared to the betrayed to the just love, just such love. And so definitely, I just feel to encourage you to connect with them. You know that they are here for you. They're not going to just jump ship or be like, oh, well, you're being too much, so I'm not going to be around, or I disapprove of you. No. Which is so beautiful. I mean, some ancestors be judgy. Let's be real. But these ones aren't. These ones, they're ride or die, definitely. So ride or ride, I guess, right? Because they're still riding. All right. So that is your reading. I hope that this helped you understand who this ancestor is, to connect, to start that connection if you didn't already have one. And yeah, just kind of facilitate that a little bit. Oh, it's so sweet. I love their Two of Cups energy. It's so beautiful. Connection. Yes, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below what you think and how it resonated for you. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon, number twos, on another one. For those of you that chose number 3 with our sparkly, oh yes, sparkle, our sparkly Aragonite. Let's see, what was this ancestor like? Prosperity. A gift of money is on its way. Your income is increasing. Manage your finances with love. And we have some rainbows and some sparkle. All right, we have the Page of Pentacles. Okay, the home of ideas. Yes. We have the Five of Wands, strife, Saturn, and Leo. We have the Seven of Cups reversed, imagination, Venus, and Scorpio. Okay, from the archetype cards, we have Guide, represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. And we have Pioneer reverse, compulsive, need to keep moving on. We have the Empress reversed. We have the Seven of Pentacles. And 2 quotes wanted to come through. One of them says the possession of muscular strength does not necessarily imply a lack of appreciation for the finer and better things of life. And the other one says everyone has a gift for something, even if it is the gift of being a good friend. All right, and then we have a few cards that are the color cards, but we'll look at them after we go through this because there's so many cards that are large. This person definitely has the energy of having their own business and having their own ideas and finding a way to make money, even while accepting their identity within their community and within themselves. So yes, we have guide and pioneer. I think it took them a while. We have 7 of Cups reversed and the 5 of Wands. I think it took them a while to kind of like battle out, as I see a battle axe right there, battle out kind of how they wanted to identify, how they wanted to be seen. I actually see going through a lot of different gender identifications. Maybe for some of the ancestors, they embraced all of those. Maybe for some of them, it was like a bit of that confusion as they decolonized or decompressed whatever society was telling them they had to be and learned to express themselves in what was authentic for them. I do get kind of a very androgynous energy, like not really choosing too much either way. We have the Empress reversed, and we have this card here, Venus reversed, with the dress. And here we have talking about the possession of having muscular strength does not necessarily imply a lack of appreciation for the finer and better things in life. So I feel like, you know, however their physical body was, they probably had a lot of strength to them. They others might have treated them as if they didn't have, you know, artistic kind of ability. Like they could have been born in a time, and again, this can go way back in our ancestors. I'm even picking up for some of them like Victorian times, like times where it was like they were just like, no, I don't want to dress like this. But just because I have a different physique doesn't mean, like, you can't tell me that I'm not like cultured, that I don't understand the arts, that I don't like or deserve the better things in life just because I'm not letting you, you know, dress me in your closet, right? So they had to really work on how they wanted others to see them. I feel like they went through a lot of changes. I see people cutting their hair because I'm seeing it get shorter. So some of them, I think a lot of them, most of them went for shorter hair a lot of the time. I'm seeing dark hair too. I'm seeing their hair being a thing. So they could have some Leo in their chart somewhere. Yes, the card of Leo. I'm seeing Scorpio energy, and I'm definitely getting Capricorn energy. There's also Taurus. Yes. Yeah, hair was a thing. So yeah, I'm seeing them really play with even things with, like, I'm seeing body hair, and just that the whole thing was very at times experimental for them. At times it was something extremely triggering for them, because this looks like a Molotov cocktail, which is, you know, a bomb that you make in a bottle, then you light the cloth and throw it, and then there's the hazardous waste there. So I think they really went through times of, you know, kind of beating themselves up, beating up their closet, like feeling frustration and trying to figure out, who am I? How can I do me? And like, you're gonna accept me. And I feel like they did carve out that niche for themselves. I don't necessarily feel like they, like, you know, some of the other ones, they're like changing all of society or banding people together. Not that they're selfish here, but I feel like they more led by example. We have the Pioneer card, but it's reversed. So sometimes they were just like, I got to do what I got to do, compulsive need to keep moving on. So kind of like, look, I'm not over here trying to be buddy with everybody and, you know, save the whole community, everyone who thinks they identify the same way as me. I'm just trying to get out here and, you know, I need to find my space first, and I have to find a way to be able to live my life. I definitely feel like they had a passion, something that was very crafty, maybe artistic in some way. They could have done tattoos. Again, tattoos were in ancient times, things like that. So I do see them doing something that was kind of revered, but a little bit of a niche. Not everybody did it. They could have been an artist. They could have been, I'm hearing like, what is it? is it a cartographer, like a map maker, I heard? Yes, so someone that people had to go to for a specific art or skill in that way, and they were able to be very hands-on. Maybe it was a little bit messy, but at the same time they could have organization, and they just were one of those people that were able to start living authentically with authenticity, and people just let them be. You know what I mean? They're just like, yeah, that's just like, no one really talked about it. It's like, yeah, that's just how they are. That's just how they are. So I feel like most of their rebellion was kind of from the societal pressure, and internally they might have had some initial spats with people close to them, like, I don't want this, but overall I think it was just an extremely internal process. Everyone always kind of knew that they were just different as their personality, and when they started doing them, it's just like, yeah, that fits you, like it makes sense, you know. So yes, I definitely see people that are gender fluid, that just don't conform whatsoever. They're just them. They dress how they dress. I do see very neutral, kind of gender neutral dressing, or androgynous dressing. I do see those specifically, like, gag me with a spoon for anything that's too frilly or too identified with what the feminine societal rules would have been at that time. I do see them being dramatic, and sometimes when they were just off on their own, kind of wearing just like random things that were very dramatic, whether it was furs or big coats or things of that nature, or feathers, or just something. But during the day, most of the time, I think they were probably just very earth sign, kind of neutral colors, and just always looking ready to work. I do see them sometimes kind of going out and letting, I guess, what they would feel like their inner nature out, and indulging in their escapades. I don't feel like they ever were too much about being overly as a matter of fact, I feel like some people in this group were asexual. Like, it wasn't really, it wasn't like what made them tick. It wasn't what their main focus was. I feel like their main focus in life was their work and their craft and their art, and that was what was important to them, and they just wanted to make sure that nothing got in the way of that, and they just wanted to be comfortable and dress like themselves and be themselves doing that. Now, time to time, they would go and have their fun times or have their wild times and really let loose, but it wasn't it just wasn't the main focal point. And it looks like they found kind of the places to go in it and have the interactions that they wanted to have. And it looks very natural, like very natural settings where they would go. I don't know if they had some, little parties in the woods or something sometimes, but it's just like they were very separate with their personal business life, and then like their sexual lives. It just was. And I don't feel like it was necessarily they were hiding it at a certain point. I think they were just, again, a private person who did what they wanted. And after they were done with that part when they were younger of like, I'm going to make, have my body look the way I want it to look, and I'm going to dress how I want to. Like, after that, they're like, okay, cool, fine. Everyone knows I'm going to do me. I do my my work and everything. And then after that, every once in a while I go out, have my fun wild times, let that out. If they were interested, again, not all of the ancestors in this group really cared so much about that. And then they were just good. It wasn't like a big major overriding deal for them. Now, I do see them we have this, everyone has a gift for something, even if it is the gift of being a good friend. I do feel like they had a few close friends that were, it's kind of like when people grow on you. I don't feel like this ancestor really liked a lot of people. I feel like people had to grow on them, very much like an earth sign, definitely like an earth sign, where you're just like, well, I've seen you every morning for the past 5 years, so I guess we're friends. Like, like, I just feel like this person was just passionate about what they were passionate about, and that's about it. Like, that's, they just saw people, like they said, if they saw someone using their gift, whatever it was, and just consistently doing that, then they had respect for that person. Even if it was that, you know, someone, the old man who sold donuts or something, and always had a kind word for the children. Like whatever was your small thing that you did, as long as you were consistent and you did it with passion and happiness, then you had the respect of this person. And so, of this ancestor, represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. Yeah, that's what I keep getting. I keep getting nature. I feel like they just came to the fact that they didn't really struggle with their sexuality or their identification of gender or anything. Like they just felt like, oh, it's natural. I do feel like they had a very natural spirituality as well, and they just came to the conclusion that they were nature, they were divine, as the owls, as the goats, as the plants and the trees. Like everything gets to be itself in nature. The animals, you know, preen and decorate themselves and do what they're good at. Your ancestor did it as they felt accurately. You know, the animals go and do their naughty bits in nature when it serves them at certain times. That your ancestor went and did that when it served them. Like it was just like they just felt connected to nature. Like that was their church. That was where they let loose when they wanted to go and connect with something greater than themselves. And I think they were very at peace spiritually with who they were and what they did in life, and that was enough for them. They felt successful. I again don't get the feeling of this person living very old. Yeah, I don't get them living much past mid-30s actually, but it again could be because of, you know, depending on where they were. A lot of generations in older days did not live exceedingly long, but I feel like they were pretty spry and, you know, youthful when they passed. Okay, so let's look into the cards. Oh good, another side that we see. They have that earth sign humor, sunset joy, pleasure and laughter, sunsets. So that was a part of nature that they enjoyed. But notice it's an 8. They got that business finished. So maybe they, you know, made sure to kind of close at sunrise, wake up at close at sunset, wake up at sunrise. Very natural kind of schedule. Dark apricot, find the humor. They might have had a dark sense of humor, which would make sense with these aspects, definitely with these astrological signs. Magi, reconcile differences. Yeah, so again, I feel like they were able to just take things in stride, be very natural person, down to earth. It does show. I was wondering, I was like, does this person ever laugh or have some fun? Yes, they did. They did have their dark little, probably sarcastic sense of humor. They did go out and enjoy the sunsets, you know, and take in I feel like they just love day-to-day life. They could have definitely had Virgo in their chart too. Like just those day-to-day, this is what I do, these are my routines, working on my skills, bettering myself. Like I know my neighborhood, that kind of thing. Like I can expect this paper gets delivered at this time, or again, it could be any era or time frame, or I'm just using examples of kind of routine things. But yeah, so, and then we have Magi, reconcile differences. I do get that feeling that everybody, like no one had ill will towards this ancestor. I feel like they again, their struggle was just kind of internal against some constructs, and once that was gone, once they figured that out, everyone was like, okay, yeah, they do them. And I feel like there was just no beef. There was just no beef. They just, if someone needed their skill set, everyone was just kind of neutral on any opinion about them. And I think they just had that kind of even energy. Like they yeah, they didn't really elicit a big dramatic response in either way from them. When they were dramatic is when they were going out into nature and doing their little spiritual things. Then they would wear dramatic clothes, get a little wild and have, but other than that, you know, they were pretty chill and low key in life. And you know, they probably didn't have a chart that was their Pluto wasn't too crazy, their Mars wasn't too crazy. They didn't really, you know, kind of elicit any of those crazy feelings from others. So others were able to just, it's almost like by magic, right? Magi. It's literally, I think they were definitely magical, because this is the god Pan out here at Pan. Out here in nature, we have the wise owl. We have the talking about divinity and connecting to nature. It has the energy of the hermit, but it also has the energy of the high priestess in this card and the crown chakra. So yes, I think they had a little witchy juju to them. Not necessarily feeling like overly psychic, but just more that grounded earth. And I looked up and I saw my deck as I was saying it that says earth magic. So yes, they had some earth magic. Yeah, but so they were able to just make everything, smooth, just kind of, I don't know, they were just really balanced. They found their balance. They reconciled those differences within themselves. Yes, prosperity. So they made, they made abundance, they made some money. Income is increasing. Manage your finances with love. They did what they loved. Yes, so encouragement to anybody, connecting with this, that you can do the same. You can find a way to be supported by what you love. You're allowed to go through your different changes and figure out who you are, what works and what doesn't. And that is absolutely fine. You can go through all your different phases and finally find that connection of, this is who I am. This is how I want to be addressed and treated. This is how I run my business and live my life. It's totally valid how much or how little you want to have your sexual life or your personal life, your interactions with others. And yes, you deserve the better things in life, whether you want to live them very luxe and dramatically, or whether you just want to have a very comfortable day-to-day kind of energy. So this ancestor will guide you in all of those ways, and is really chill. So probably will wait for you to contact them first. But now they're stepping forward, they could be a little bit naggy because they pay attention to details and like routines, very earth sign practical in those kind of ways. So, and every once in a while they get a little Leo, Scorpio dramatic, but yeah, so they'll probably help you, especially if you're wanting to do your own business, if you're wanting to get your life in order, get better habits, be more reliable to others, be a more consistent kind of everyday friend to people. These are all things that this ancestor is very good at. Yes, so thank you so much, ancestor, for coming through. Thank you guys for tuning in, number threes. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below how this resonated with you, and I will talk to you soon. Yes, on another one. Number fours. For those of you that chose number 4, let's see what we have here. Just one moment. I'm like the suspense. Just one moment. Okay, I am simultaneously uploading other videos. Okay, so I had to fix that real quick. Yes, okay, I'll start it from here. Number 4s. We have compassion from this ancestor. Be gentle with yourself. Forgiveness will set you free. See the light in yourself and others. There was the sweetest energy from this pile, and there was also well, we'll see with the cards and then I'll tell you. Strength reversed, fire, Leo, and the sun. We have the 7 of Wands, also a Leo card, Mars and Leo, courage, reversed. And we have the Knight of Wands, reversed, the fire starter. So definitely this one's a fire sign. And probably a Leo. Let's see, from the archetype cards, we have the Avenger reverse, resorting to violence in the name of cause. We have the Networker, light attributes, enhances unity through the sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy. And then we have one of the blank cards, which means beyond the spectrum of what we know. That's how I always interpret it in reading. So this could be someone who identified sexually or in regards to gender beyond the spectrum of the terms that we currently use. So remember, a lot of cultures had either other words that aren't used anymore, things like that, or many different identifications of gender and expression and relationships. So they could have fallen on something that they wouldn't that we're not using within the LGBTQIA plus acronym, or they could also be non-binary or gender fluid. This one, I got the sweetest energy from them, and I got a shooting hot pain in my hand, which means they suffered like violence and pain. So I have that when whenever I feel like things from animals, like antlers or something, I usually can always tell if they fell naturally or if the animal had been hunted. It's like this, I don't know, this weird psychic thing. So I remember being in the shop, and they had gotten these shipments in, and I was asking them, and I was able to be correct even when they were mistaken, and they had to double check which ones were actually naturally shed and which ones were not, and they came from harm, and they were able to like regulate that to make sure they were getting the naturally shed ones. So that is just something that I pick up on energetically, and I felt that with this group. So when I got this card that was talking about resorting to violence in the name of a cause, I did not feel that that was your ancestor doing violence. I felt that it was violence done to them. And with the Knight of Wands reversed, that's the fire starter, that was definitely vigilante energy, negative vigilante. And the Seven of Wands reversed here, where we have this person who was trying to defend themselves from all this riot gear, but then not being able to with this reverse. And we see, trying to protect. We have the light attributes with the networker, and it says engender social awareness and empathy, trying to distribute information, to be compassionate, and that beautiful mauve color there. So I feel like in this compassion, I feel like your ancestor was a very compassionate person that was trying to, Seven of Swords, be a revolutionary. This card actually shows anarchy, revolutionary. It's about taking the swords from your enemy before they can use them towards you. So I feel like this definitely was an ancestor that was very aware and active about what was going on against the queer and expanded, because again, we might not have the terminology of what they use to identify themselves, community at that time. And I think they were extremely active at wanting to dismantle ideologies and things that were endangering them, and they were very good at doing so, at getting information out and trying to find those who needed to be nurtured. Very compassionate. And Unakite, the stone that you chose, it even has a little heart right there on the side with the green. That is a heart chakra stone, the heart and the high heart chakra. Let's see, we also got the Lovers card. Yes, so they could have been very into like political movements, trying to make it acceptable for everybody to be welcomed in. This card here, they could also have been transgender in this deck. The author of this deck is transgender and actually transitioned while making this deck, and was so amazing, and actually shows that within the deck. So Robin Scott is the creator. It's the Urban Tarot, and this was them at one point, and they still love that and have that picture in the house of them and their wife. And so there could be some aspect of that with your ancestor, that they were trying to protect that aspect of the community and get out information about providing safety. Again, very compassionate, but compassionate action. Yes, and they were having a really big effect in trying to find active and very effective ways, but non-violent ways to deal with very violent situations. And we have the Strength reversed, because in the end, not having the strength. I do feel that this ancestor passed in a harmful way by a person who was hateful. And it says they also live, though, because their quote says, "Am I a legend? You can't be in the show business for 60 years and not be a legend." So they were Leo. Okay, we have Leo, Mars, fiery energy. So they were known. They We're okay with being seen. They have a good sense of humor. We're very compassionate. You know, use the attention that they got to provide protection for others. I feel like in some ways they kind of made themselves a target to draw off the heat from other people. And they definitely were they were a lover. You know, they loved others. I feel like I also get the feeling of being, some of them were pansexual, because I'm seeing all different types of lovers identifying different ways. And that to them, like, it really was, love is love. It doesn't matter to them. They just wanted everyone to be safe and accepted. You know, they were totally okay being the anarchists, you know. Let's see what colors they got here. Look at their colors. Isn't that so beautiful and soft? It matches here. It matches the color of that. The compassion. It just got those colors perfectly. Melon Peak. Compassion. Compassion. So compassionate. Dusty Rose, your love has aged. So they did get to experience a long-term partner, and that's a number 6, like the lovers. Yes. For some of you, the name Dusty might be important, or the name Rose. We also have Malo, listen well and fully. So I think they were a great advocate for the people, because they listened to the community, they listened to every facet of everyone's concerns, and then they went out with that big grin and that, you know, attention that they could turn on. You know, behind the scenes they might have been very quiet, very chill, relaxed. I'm seeing a lot of 6s and 9s, so their birthday, that's very specific, but it's coming up a lot. So their birthday might have landed on the 6th or the 9th of the month. So yeah, which would have been, that means they would have been August Leo. So some of them were born August 6th or August 9th. We also do have 4 and 2 here, but I'm seeing the 6s and the 9s repeating. Okay, very specific. They're like, you're gonna know me. I said I have Leo. I'm also seeing Aquarius in their chart though too. So some of them had Leo, Aquarius polarities in their chart. They could have been born at the full moon. Yes. Okay, that's the 2 and the 4. So some of them, there were a few that were Aquarius with Leo placements, with Leo moon and Leo Mars. Yes, so they would have been born in the 2nd month. That makes sense. Okay, and maybe on the 4th. Very specific, this crew. Yes. Hey, we love it. Or the 2nd month and on the 7th. So February 7th. Very specific. Okay. All right, sorry. And some of them, their name could have been Mel. It could have had Mel in their name. All right. Yes, I think some of them you can even find the information about them, because they're talking about being a legend, and I'm seeing documentation happening. Some of them might have passed in a riot or in a hate crime in a dramatic way that was really marked in the community. So I feel like that's why they're giving dates. Okay, that's why they're giving dates. Some of you are going to be able to put together the parts that match for your ancestor. Now I feel they're very happy, and they gave the card that was talking about where was it? I know one of these was saying, it says forgiveness will set you free. See the light in yourself and others. Now I don't feel like this is just like, oh, you know, let everyone hurt you and just forgive it. I think this is saying they don't want you to kind of be angry and hold any of that pain and trauma on their behalf. You know, they're trying to release that from the spiritual DNA, because we do have, you know, like ancestral trauma. They're also, for themselves, they just wanted to let that go. They didn't stay to that situation. They didn't stay to that moment of the death. They were able to release from that, which is huge, because sometimes it's very, very hard for spirits when they have passed in a traumatic way to come out, you know, whole and healed, and they can need help. So those of them that did have initially a tough time have since healed, and some of them were able to just you know, transition into a good place right away. I feel like they were very, very loved. And I think almost immediately a lot of people were, I'm seeing people lighting candles and connecting with them, you know, kind of talking to them and remembering them almost as soon as they passed away. And I think they were very sorely missed. And, you know, it's like, this person is a coward. I don't know for some of them. Yeah, for some of them, I don't know that the person was found. And for some of them, the person harmed themselves after they harmed the ancestor. So I really hope, I'll probably put a note on the, when I type it, because I already did the intro, I'll probably put a note and just say, I hope if anyone's in a sensitive place, you know, talking to our ancestors that have been within our community, we know that we might hear some things that you know, could be triggering. And so we're not trying to, you know, trigger anyone or get anyone to a bad place. This ancestor has amazing, lively, happy energy. They're talking about how famous they were, how wonderful it was to serve the community and be compassionate and just, you know, love. And I'm just hearing them talk about, you know, kissing someone's sweet lips. Like, they just want to talk about their life, like just connect, like the smell of these flowers and these nights that they got to live and, you know, be in love. And then they also had the times where it was like, I'm hearing the strikes. So they might have done strikes where they did, you know, pamphlets or protests or walkouts, different things like that. And I feel like they were the person to go to for anyone who was being oppressed, anybody who, you know, I feel like anyone that others were harming or at war against, they would advocate and, you know, want people to be safe. But they were good at it. Yeah, they were really good at getting information out and getting the truth out and having love for everybody. And that's, oh, the candles. Yeah, in the face of all of that, they were able to be remembered and respected. And so it's like they didn't necessarily win in life, but I feel like it reminds me of Nipsey, you know, who did a lot of things in life and affected a lot, but then their spirit lives on, and instantly it's like their energy, when someone like that passes, that energy field becomes infinite. It goes everywhere like stardust on the people. And it awakens that love, that compassion, that change, that voice, that ability to listen to each other and connect with others. And that's what this person did. They were also attractive, okay? Look, they're like, can you say, you know, I was good looking too, okay? Look, they're trying to be like, I was good looking, I could provide a very good time, if you know what I mean. I could have my choice of lovers. I feel like they were that kind of person who, even when they were married, they'd be like, you know, I could have my pick of anyone I wanted. You know, they would tease for a while, and then they would be like, but you know, I chose this one here. And then they would, you know, turn and be poetic and say what a blessing it was. And, you know, their partner knew. So I'm just seeing that kind of fun, ornery, playful, compassionate, you know, personality. But then surprisingly, they could be very discreet and really handle things behind the scenes. Yes. So we are just so grateful to connect with the spirit and see the joy and the fun and the sacrifices. We have some amazingly strong and individual energies come through today, and I'm just really grateful. I'm really grateful, and I hope that everybody is, you know, I just want everyone to be able to be safe and live your best life and love who you want to love. Like Beyonce said, it's your business who you want to love and take their ass to Red Lobster. And yes, I hope so. And I think this ancestor just wants, in a safe way, to help you continue to do that. Be passionate, be compassionate, laugh, have fun, you know, don't be afraid to, I think with them, no matter how much love they have, how much attention and all that, they weren't afraid to risk it to really love people. You know, like they didn't, as much as they kind of joked about, you know, being famous and stuff, sometimes they were really humble. They were really humble. Probably surprisingly, it's almost like two different personalities, like a full moon. I really feel like they're born on a full moon, where they had the public personality, and that was honest and true, but then they also had the other side where it's almost like when they pulled their energy in, you wouldn't even know it was them if you passed them on the street. I remember someone was, it was like the stars talking about that had known Marilyn Monroe, and she was an Aquarius moon, but she had a Leo rising. So for the Marilyn that she put on was her Leo rising for the public. And one celebrity that was around her a lot was talking about how she would be Norma Jean on a day-to-day, you know, that's the energy. She would have more Norma Jean. But then one day they were out and she thought that like no one was recognizing her. She was the most famous woman in the world at that time and no one was recognizing her, but her energy, she had, you know, she was sitting in a different energy. And so she kind of got a little sad no one recognized her, so she just all of a sudden just turned on her Marilyn Monroe energy, and all of a sudden it's like everyone just turned and was like, wow, Marilyn, like they felt that energy turn on, and it was like day and night. And I get that same vibe here with this ancestor. When they needed to turn it off and be covert and handle business, they could do it. But they would never jeopardize the people for celebrity or for fame or just attention or being known. No, they were just a very, you know, they definitely had a very intense moral code about caring for people and doing what you could do for others. But they were a lover. They were definitely a lover all the way around. Definitely. So those are the areas they're going to help you and encourage you in. You know, they're definitely not going to want you to sell yourself out. They'll never want you to neglect to help people, to look good to a few, or to look good to the masses. They'll want you to stay a compassionate person, you know, someone who stands up and defends as much as you can, but someone who knows why they're fighting, that's fighting for love in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, be on the right side of the fight, because then you're really doing something. And I also think that this ancestor would never condemn like the group, like a whole group of people, for what one person did. Like I'm seeing, like, you know how it is in current media times where there'll be a person of one religion who does something and the entire religion will get condemned for it, and it'll become a very hateful situation. Excuse me. That would never fly with this ancestor unless it was a hateful, you know, organization, a hateful group and situation. This person would never want you, though, to, like, you know, do gang retaliation or start religious wars or anything like that. No, this was a very compassionate ancestor that really, although they knew how to work the crowd and move the crowd, and I definitely see them doing that, they also understood that people were individuals, and that it's important to hold them individually accountable. They definitely did see that, but it's also important to sit and listen and know where they're at, and not just assume that, oh, well, this person is from the wrong side of the tracks, so they must be horrible, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I feel like they just want you to slow down and listen, because I'm seeing this message just unrolling very slowly to me now, and I'll think that they're done, and then they start talking again, and part of that is that Leo used to being talked to, so you might feel like that, okay, I'm done meditating, and they're like, no, wait, come back, young blood. Got a little more to tell you. Yes, they kind of have that slow rollout, that slow getting into it. So they're like, just keep listening. Are you still listening? You thought I stopped, taps Mike. Nope, I'm still listening well and fully, it says. I might still have some more information for you. All right. So that is what I'm picking up for number 4. I hope that that was helpful. I hope that you are able to come to peace like your ancestor is, because I feel like they're very much at peace and in joy and, you know, beyond the negative that happened, and wanting to help, you know, continue the blessings and the good energy and the compassion with you, and to support you in those things and live a life full of love. And yeah, I hope everyone that watched this reading, if you watched it all the way through, and those of you still on this one, number 4, you know, I thank you so much for watching. I hope you really connected. I'm so honored and so happy that this suggestion came from the ancestors. They were like, hey, do one for us, do community one. I was like, yes, thank you, good, yes, let's do it. So yeah, I'm gonna get working on getting this transferred so I can upload it to y'all, and I hope you have a happy, safe Pride. And remember, Pride is 365, 366 on leap year. Support the people in your community and protect BIPOC and transgender people in our communities. Go and support their businesses. That includes your readers. That includes everything that we do. And take care of each other and love on each other. I'll see you on another time on another one. Bye.